Our next speaker up is Cheryl Montelle.
Okay.
Cheryl.
Thank you.
You have to sit down. Go ahead.
Full applause at the end.
Yeah, you.
Yeah, it goes up.
Oh, that's perfect. How's everybody tonight, okay? Thanks for coming. Okay, my piece is called Tribe. I've always searched for my place in the world. My place in the tribe. The place where I belong. It's easy to get lost in this desert called Los Angeles. I walked into the vast gymnasium of the Jewish Community Center, transformed into more than a makeshift synagogue, complete with wall hangings and white curtains, and I looked around. The place was packed. Families, single men and women, young, old, gay, straight. Young mothers and fathers held squirming babies and toddlers. Grandparents sat nearby. Older children ran around. Teenagers roamed in packs. Observant Jews sat next to once-a-year Jews like me, on plastic chairs dressed in white, a tradition of this Los Angeles congregation. Many women as well as men wore kippahs, prayer caps, and were wrapped in talit, Jewish prayer shawls, some ornate, full of design and color, others the traditional white with blue trim. I was attending the evening service that ushers in the holy day of Yom Kippur called Kol Nidre. Though this was the holiday to atone, it was in its first hours and the atmosphere was full of a serene joy and anticipation. Friends waved to each other, smiled, motioned to a safe seat. The rabbi, a woman, stood on the small stage called the Bima, and to her right stood another young rabbi, also a woman. To her left was a cantor, and next to him were singers and drummers already in full swing. Behind the rabbi was the ark holding the Torah, the holy Jewish scripture. The tone was set. A deepening that would increase in the next 24 hours had begun, as the light through the high gymnasium window shone its last rays of the setting sun across the room. A tiny silver clip on the floor in front of me caught my eye as I took my seat next to my dear friends, saving the one next to me for my daughter, who was still roaming with her teenage comrades. I closed my eyes, allowing the drumming and the voices of the singers to resonate deep inside my body. And I felt the history of my DNA, the tug of my ancestors, the pull of this tribe sitting all around me. I was drawn into the familiar, the Hebrew chants taking me back to my grandfather's Orthodox synagogue. But it didn't last. As the rabbi said to turn to page so-and-so, and many around me started to pray in Hebrew with her, I became unplugged because I didn't understand the Hebrew prayers, just as I didn't understand them when I was a little girl. I looked around again and everyone seemed to know the prayers. They had taken the time to be part of this congregation. They had met with the rabbi and poured out their souls, yearning to connect, and the rabbi had inspired them. They had gone to smaller meetings to learn what the different prayer cycles were if they didn't know, and had gone to the fundraisers or worked behind the scenes, joined the social justice groups that different members led, like Green Action, Immigration, or Global Justice. They had found their place, their community. This was it. Yes, my own Jewish history was always stirred when once a year I came out to the high holidays, but no, I had not made this my primary community, and I could not get past the initial tug of my ancestors. My sister had. In fact, the rest of my family I was born into had a very strong Jewish identity. It defined them in a way it did not define me. I could use the excuse that I had been a Buddhist for 35 years, or that it's because my husband wasn't Jewish and he didn't join me for these excursions to the synagogue, except for when our daughter was bat mitzvah. She was the reason I joined, so that she would know her place in the tribe if she chose to embrace it. I could also tell you that committing to any religion derails me from my core belief that spirit is spirit, and that any road that gets you there, gets you there. as long as you don't kill anyone for not believing what you believe. So, as I drove home from that service, I began to think about what does move me. Where do I belong? And within a half a moment, I realized I knew the answer, because when I turn off Interstate 10 onto Highway 62 and drive through the ascending curves of the Morongo Pass, I am home. When I catch the first glimpse of the desert skyline, rich with clouds or that crystal clear blue you seldom get in Los Angeles anymore, I am home. And when I breathe the clear, dry air and smell the scent of desert bloom rich with sage and buckwheat, without a doubt, I am home. The tightness of the long drive in traffic melts away, and this coyote calm centers me as the quail cross the road with their babies and the jackrabbit leisurely hops from plant to plant, even as a roadrunner patrols the area. It's the light, the long view, the quiet that calls my spirit forth. It's the community of nature, the deep heart that is connected to the stars that grounds me. But of course, no man is an island. And no matter how many desert tortoises slowly walk across my path, I am a social creature by nature, and all I have to do is stop into any store or cafe in downtown Joshua Tree, and there I run into a friend, receive a hug, fall into a conversation. It's a welcoming community, full of artists, musicians, writers, healers, all needing the space to jump over the moon to find the joy of living. This is my tribe. They come from all over, drawn to the horizon, the setting sun, the moon rising, the vortex of nature strong in the bones of the earth. Here there is room to come together without planning in advance, and to retreat back into the alone time needed to create a song, a poem, a piece of art. My sanctuary, my place of worship, resides between the boulders and under the sky. And I don't need a congregation, or a rabbi, or a religion to point me in the direction of God.